and welcome to Japan. My name is Martin. 3 years ago, I was living in New York City. I moved to Japan, and I moved to the countryside, to rural Japan. This morning I took a walk before the sun came out, and I made a little video. I chatted about Luke Skywalker, Ray Charles, and Joseph Campbell. What do these things have in common? They all sort of connect on this hero's journey that I'm on, that I'm sharing with you. So sit back, relax, enjoy this little overture of the sunflowers and the morning glories in my backyard, and then we'll take a walk around, and you'll visit Japan with me. Come on, let's go. But first, settle in, take out whatever you have that makes yourself comfortable, and relax. Okay. Well, here we are again, friend. It's Tuesday morning. Everyone's still sleeping. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be another hot day. But it's not hot yet. It's still the morning. We're going to take a little walk, a little talk. I was talking to my friend yesterday on the phone about America, and I romanticize things, I'll be the first to admit. And my goodness, I mean, it's demonstrated by my backyard hodgepodge of sunflowers here in the Japanese countryside. You can only imagine how I romanticize the place of my birth and my forefathers' birth. And living here during this time, I get the strangest of things. Well, just one particularly strange thing said to me when I tell people that I miss America. Across all political and popular thought, political ideologies, almost all of them say the same thing. They say this disturbing thing. They say, oh, America is really, it's a real shit show right now, man. And it makes for an odd time to be alive. Let's step back a little bit. But first, let's take in a few more moments of the morning. This is my neighborhood here. Here in Japan. And it's chill. I mean, I see it through the eyes of a foreigner. So I think that if someone was from Japan, came to a rural, depopulated part of America, they might see this part of Japan, that part of America, the same way that I see Japan. Again, I romanticize things. Which way should we go? Let's go this way. Let's go this way, come on. The light this morning is just so nice. So I find myself in this bit of a conundrum. I romanticize America. I tell my son about America. I tell myself about America. But I wonder if the America that I'm so fond of even exists anywhere but in my imagination. And that is a horrifying dystopia. People are drying their onions. These are grape leaves. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. Once you pick the onions, this is how you store them in my neck of the woods. Another exotic thing that's become quite common. This is the fire department. Up there, when I first moved here, the gentleman of the fire department invited me over, and I went upstairs and I saw their teeny tiny fire truck, and they were all sitting around eating bentos and playing Uno and watching soccer. And I thought, I've landed in utopia for sure. But let's go back to America. Let's take a crooked path back there. It was just the 4th of July here in Japan. The most crooked of paths. Actually, hold that thought. This is my neighbor that has chickens and geese. It's a fig tree. The geese are sleeping in their coop. She makes delicious eggs. So every 4th of July here, I have a little 4th of July celebration. Humble is a generous way to put it. Have a little 4th of July celebration. Sorry, I digress again. Japan loves a solar panel. I mean, this is really the 1 foot in the future, 1 foot in the backwards, backwards. 1 foot in the future, 1 foot in the past, sort of personified here. I mean, here in the countryside of countrysides, an array of solar panels. Directly in front of this Andrew Wyeth worthy corrugated steel barn. The future and the past. One step in the past, one step in the future. I mean, solar panel, old house, green tea bushes. So where were we? 4th of July in America. And how people refer to America, discuss America when I talk about it lovingly. You know, the third person talking here is this scenery. Because this scenery is saying something that only you can hear. I'm living in this place that is rich in natural beauty and incredibly peaceful. But like every species, from the salmon going upstream to Bambi, I miss home. The interesting conundrum that I'm facing is, does home exist? I mean, I always say that home is where I'm standing, you know? That whatever land is beneath my feet is home. That's home. She ain't beautiful, but she's mine. Ohayou gozaimasu. Sorry, I take a lot of digressions, but I think that the time that I'm not talking says a lot more than the time that I am, actually. We started out looking with sunflowers, and now we're about to get to my original point, which is Ray Charles. So every 4th of July, I have a humble fireworks display. I go to the local supermarket, and I buy a pack of fireworks. This year it was bottle rockets. It was really wet outside, so I fired off a shit ton of bottle rockets. It was great. I'm sorry, parents, if you're watching this with your kid, but if you know, I keep it 90% very kid friendly. And you know, a shit ton of bottle rockets. It's good English. So every year, this year I fired off a bunch of bottle rockets because it was really moist. And every year during my improvised Gaijin, which is the word for foreigner, 4th of July celebration, there comes a part in the festivities where I will put on Ray Charles singing America the Beautiful, which is, I think that's the real American anthem, his particular rendition. You know, for those of you not familiar, I'm not going to punish you with singing it. I'll only punish you with reciting the bits and pieces that I sort of remember. You know, he says, you know, Ray Charles is a black American born in, you know, Jim Crow, post-slavery America. And so him singing America the Beautiful has a certain irony already connected to it. So just to paraphrase the song, it goes something along the lines of, oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. Now, I am not a religious type. As far as the traditional Western thoughts on a religious type goes. Like, I don't believe there's a man in the sky that's going to punish me for anything. The man in the sky loves me, and he loves you too. If there is, in fact, a man in the sky. But there's something out there. Like I say, I believe in none of the religions. I believe in all of them. But he's in this song, America the Beautiful, Ray Charles says, may God shed his grace on thee. And grace is a word that really came into my vernacular somewhere in my 30s, like the importance of grace. And so that's the first part that sort of like wakes up my emotional earbuds. You know, like, can the God, which, you know, maybe like John Coltrane says God is love. Some people, everyone has their own iteration of God. Let's just say God is love in this instance. So may God shed his grace on thee. Because when this black fella, this blind black artist, Ray Charles, sings these words, it's, for me, it's just like, I interpret it as he's saying, you know, like, America that's done all these atrocious things, has committed the original sin of slavery, and has all this division and conflict that's always been there and only changes forms. He's saying, you know, will God help us be graceful through this thing? So that part always gets me. And I usually have some, and here in the Inaka, in the Japanese countryside, you know, hearing Ray Charles' beautiful voice ring out those notes is particularly poignant. So I usually play that song during our little sparkler-ridden 4th of July ceremony. You know, Oh, beautiful for spacious skies. So that's a bit of like the preamble, the first chorus of the song. And then he goes on to say, he says, he requests this deity. He says, crown thy good in brotherhood. Crown thy good in brotherhood. Like, man, it's just like, again, can like this force of love in the universe remind us that we're all brothers and sisters in America, like from sea to shining sea. And crown thy good in brotherhood. Like, it's like this song is like a call for grace, understanding, and brotherhood in this country founded by these young white fellas who wrote these lofty words of freedom while making love to their slaves. And here it is, 100 years later, with Ray Charles singing this love song to America. America the beautiful. Crown thy good in brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. So I'm living here in bucolic. There's the car. We've been talking for what, 10 minutes or so, and there's the car. This is an old school Japanese roof. This is my favorite house in the neighborhood. A few times a summer, the owner comes and airs out this old gem. Not really doing it justice. Let me step back a bit. It turns into from a wooden house into a bit of a glass house. Here we are back at Main Street, 42nd and Broadway. I hear a car coming. Look at that beauty. So when I talk to my friends in America lovingly about visiting or returning to America, the most intelligent, all of them, across the spectrum, from Republican to Democrat to left-wing liberal to Bernie bro to the whole spectrum, all of them, to my mom and dad, all of them say the same thing. They all say, basically, America's messed up and everyone hates everyone. And that is so hard to grasp, because usually there's just some outlier, some, 12% of my peoples that I've known will say, America's an asshole and everyone hates everyone. But like everyone says that everyone hates everyone, that America's just a disaster, and that I should stay away. I mean, these are people that love me to death, but they say I should stay away from America. I'm better off, here. And when I have the discussion with myself, it makes for a very complicated debate at the Forum of Martin and Martin Hall in Martinville. does one wish to, Ohayou gozaimasu, does one, you know, stay in exile? Or do I return back to the land of familiarity and individuality? And do I return back to the romantic America that I believe I believe in, that I believe exists? Or do I stay here in the Japanese countryside where it's perfectly safe? There's no Donald Trump. There's no Donald Trump. There's no politics here, period. Japan's about to release 30 years worth of radioactive seawater into the ocean to affect generations to come. And granted, I mean, I don't have many people to talk to here in the Inaka, but it's not like something I hear about in the news even. Like there's politics is, you know, due to language and circumstance, there is no political life. There's no politics in my life unless I turn on the pocket phone or a computer and request it to come to me. So, dear viewer, on this Tuesday morning here for the Japanese countryside, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about America. How's your America? How is your America? Are you optimistic? Is everything going to be all right? Or does it feel permanently broken? What do you all think? Would you come back to America? The land of opportunity and Elvis Presley and Trayvon Martin? Or would you stay here in the Japanese countryside, living in exile like Obi-Wan Kenobi, raising a young Luke Skywalker? This part of my hero's journey is foggy at best. The hero's journey is it's a book, you know, by Joseph Campbell. It's the backbone combination of it's Star Wars basically. You know, it's every story. You know, the hero's journey. You don't even need to read it. Just those two words will do it. The hero's journey. You are the hero of your own story. You're the hero of your own story. As the hero of my own story, on my own journey, I ask you, stranger out there across the world, would you stay in a rural Japan where the living is easy? That's a real generalization. Or would you voyage back to what I call it the land of the brave? Not because it's like, oh, we're so brave, but because America's so scary for black people, for me, a black guy, that it's the land of the brave. You gotta be brave to live there. Would you stay here in the Japanese countryside, or would you return to the land of the brave? Are the reports of America's demise greatly exaggerated, or are they on point? Would you trade places? What are your thoughts? It's just me and my shadow here. I'm going to be quiet for a bit, and we're going to walk through the stretch of land that was once upon a time a greenhouse that is now an assortment of abandoned flowers. My neighbor's there, so I don't want to bother them. Maybe I can do it without bothering them. Let me see, I'm going to point to the sky for a moment, then we're going to walk there, I think. You know what? We're not going to do that. I'll show you the land of abandoned greenhouses and flowers on another day. I don't want to interrupt someone enjoying their morning routine the way that we've been enjoying our morning routine. Imagine if Russell Brand or Tucker Carlson or Joe Rogan or Al Sharpton or Al Gore all of a sudden interject their thoughts now. So with that, I'll leave you. I hope to hear from you. I hope you enjoy the sunflowers. And until next time, I'll be here pondering my hero's journey here in Japan. Good morning, friend.